Hi everybody, welcome back once again to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel. Before we kick off with today's review, just want to talk about some very exciting news here at Eastfield Gunroom. Not only are Oasis getting back together, apart from that, we are nearly at the milestone of 5,000 subscribers to the Eastfield Gunroom YouTube channel. If you haven't already hit the subscribe button and you do enjoy our videos, please do hit it because it does help us bring you fantastic content like this. So on with today's review. Today we are going to look at a Browning, not any Browning. This is Eastfield Gunroom. We don't do things by halves. We are going to bring you the very top end of the current B525 range. So allow me to introduce the Browning 525 Heritage 2 Sporter. Back in the early 2000s, it was actually about 2003 from memory, Browning introduced a side plate model on the 425 action, which is the gun at the time. Obviously, this is the 525, which was the Privilege. Now, since then, since about 2003, certainly here in the UK, we had not had a side plated Browning. And then in 2008, Browning came up with this. Now, what they did is they took the original 425 action, which was from the Privilege, and they put a nice side plate on it. So what that did is it elevated the model at the time, which was the Prestige, which was the kind of box lock action. Obviously, they're all box lock. This is just a side plate, not a side lock, with the deep cut game scene engraving, you know, the nice wood, the dropper points. And like I said, it just took it up that next level. And initially what they did is they used the 425 action in the first Heritage. That was back in 2008, and I can remember them coming out new, and everybody clamoured to get one. What you've got to remember, there's a huge following in the UK for Browning, particularly with game shooters, particularly of game shooter of a certain age. I have to say that, a certain generation, and everybody just wanted to get their hands on one of these guns. Now, fast forward to 2011, big facelift for the Heritage. And what they did is they then used the 525 action rather than the 425 action, which basically made it a little bit lighter, a little bit sleeker. And most importantly, what they did is they actually rounded the edges just to make it look, in essence, more expensive. So the gun we've got with us today is the Browning 525 Heritage 2. This is the 2016 model, but if you were to go and buy one from a Browning dealer today, it will be exactly the same specification. It would not change in any way, shape or form. Now, one of the big bugbears with the original Heritage was it was a bit too lumpy, it was a bit too barrel heavy. So what they did by putting it on the 525 action, making the barrels a little bit lighter, it made it a much more manageable, much more nimble gun, particularly for use in the field. So we'll start, as always, with the action. Traditional deep-bodied full-length hinge pin, Browning 525, synonymous with dependability, build quality, durability. If you regularly watch the channel, you will have seen the Miracle MK11 video that we did. And that basically is a kind of a modern collaboration of the 725 action, the low profile action with the 525 internals, which for me wasn't the greatest gun in terms of the balance and the feel, but I'm not going to waffle on with that. I'm just going to carry on and roll with it. So what we've got is we've got this traditional Browning finish, this kind of grey, brushed, really subtle, elegant kind of look with these elongated side plates. We've got this really nice floral border scroll work all the way around it, and we've gone, it's almost like in a vignette where the side plate's been cut out. We've got a lovely game scene depicting. We've got pheasants, we've got partridges. We've got a nice ploughed field scene, which seems to be kind of the norm sometimes, like people only shoot pheasants on ploughed fields. Some nice trees in the background. And like I said, the attention to detail, the level that Browning went to, bear in mind this would be a mixture of kind of be laser engraving with a bit of hand finishing, is really nice. If you compare it back to the original side plate, which is the 425 Privilege, which we may look at some point, it absolutely knocks it out of the park in terms of the quality and the attention to detail with the engraving. So if we turn it over, again, look at the attention to detail. We've got the screws. They will be hand engraved. They won't be laser done. On this side, we've got pheasants. We've got a more of a water scene. We've got some nice reeds, that kind of stuff. And some might say it's even better on the other side. On top of that, we've got the word Browning just above the bottom of the barrel wings. Again, we've got this full coverage kind of floral scroll. You can actually see the heads on the flowers. I don't know what kind of flowers they are. Someone might be able to tell me in the comments. And it just really works. You know, you get some guns that have just got game scene and just got scroll. But I think Browning, who historically quite often go to filing cabinets and go to right to the back to get an engraving process, I feel with this, they've really come out with a rock and roll star. So moving on to the bottom of the action, obviously we've got an engraved forend iron, all the lumps are engraved. We've got the continuation of this really nice fine scroll. Got like a pair of dragon's ears here. We've got the word heritage in this nice scroll, pull-out scroll like something off Pirates of the Caribbean. Nicely engraved trigger guard. And just to finish off, as you would expect, we've got the traditional Browning sporting trigger. This is a sporting gun. This is the Heritage 2 Sporter. Now it's got the checkering on it, a bit like you would get on a Miracle MK38, only it's finished in gold. And to finish, we have got the signature of what will be the engraving studio that were prominent in the design and the laser cutting, etc., of the engraving on the action. Okay, onto the barrels. And I say it time and time again, but we've kind of got standard Browning gear. We have got ventilated top rib, ventilated barrels, 10mm rib with the tram line, with the centre bead, although someone has removed the centre bead on this particular shotgun. And it just works. You know, the 525 came out back in 2003-ish. And in essence, it hasn't changed all that much today. There's been a few cosmetic changes. But in terms of the barrel profile, the barrel technology, it's still the same. And because of that, it's still probably outsold a number of different makes and models, certainly here in the UK, year on year out, because it has got that name that just screams reliability and dependability. It's a Browning. So we'll take the barrels off. Like I said, they are ventilated, but they're not ventilated the whole way through. We have got, this is a 30-inch Sporter. They were also available in 28 and 32. Game guns, 28 and 30-inch. There also is a 20-bore version of this gun, although it is only available in game specification with a narrow rib, semi-pistol grip stock, etc. So internally, what's the bore in Morning Glory? We have got Invector Plus, 18.7 bore, engine turning, engraved barrel lumps, engraved bottom bite, and definitely maybe, as usual, it's high-performance steel shot proof, as you can see there. Like I said, this was a 2016 gun. This was actually sold, I believe, in about 2019, because they don't make many of these. There's a chance that it may have sat on the shelf in Belgium for a year, 18 months, or someone decided they wanted to own it, because ultimately, you know, it's a premium gun. It's not for everybody. But then again, if you've got no vices, you're not into cigarettes and alcohol, then why not treat yourself to a nice gun? And to finish off, like I said, with nicely engraved barrel wings, just to carry on with the continuation of the scroll work through the action, through the 4-and-9, etc. And also engine turning, as you would expect. Now, if you go back to this kind of 2016 era, some of the 525 range weren't engine turned, so it was something that was kind of reserved only for the Heritage model, as far as I can recall. So I know what you're thinking. How much better balance is it than that original 425 Privilege that we talked about? Now, this gun weighs 7 pounds 15 ounces. Now, remember, Brownings have always had this kind of stigma for being a little bit barrel heavy. This is no different. Obviously, we'll talk about the stock dimensions and the stock weight, etc. shortly. But let's not forget, I've talked about it in previous videos, they've got this obsession with these horrible plastic butt plates, and quite often, particularly in this case, it will affect the balance of the shotgun. Just to finish off with the bright work, with the metal work, if you like, we've got the top lever, and again, we've got this nice scroll work, which is very, very similar to what they've got on the barrel wings. Just a bit of a point from a Browning ownership, you know, top tip, if you like. If you have got a Browning, the barrel wings are quite susceptible to tarnishing, to rust, to pitting, because there's no kind of treatment on them. So if you have got one of these and you have got a few little spots on it, just some very, very fine wire wool or some very, very fine, like 600 wet and dry, and it will just get rid of those little spots. It's not uncommon to see. I've seen dozens of Brownings, dozens of Miracles, and it's just something that they tend to suffer with. So another top tip from me. Moving on to the woodwork. Now look at that, isn't that supersonic? The reason I chose this particular example, there's quite a few of these that were available to me, was as soon as I saw the gun, it absolutely got the wow factor. I didn't look back in anger, I just thought, right, that's the gun for me. What we've got here, we have got grade 5 European walnut. We've talked about it before, the Browning politics. You usually find European walnut on models like this. Beautifully figured, it's got this kind of orange colour, and for me, these black streaks, if they carried on the whole way through the piece of the wood, which would probably mean that the wood would come from right at the bottom of the tree, then it could be grade 8, 9, etc. It's a really, really special piece of wood, this is. Obviously, we've talked before about side plate guns being a little bit vulnerable because of the removal of the wood. This is a good, strong piece of wood. We've got the ubiquitous teardrops. We've got double point checkering. We've got the vacant oval, and although I'm not a fan of it, and this is kind of where Browning are these days, still with this model, sadly, if you buy a 2023, 24 model, you'll still get this piece of junk on the back. For me, get one, get out there, put a decent recoil pad on it, go and enjoy it, and it's a much better terms of fit and just comfort of shooting. Pistol grip, like I said, the game gun that is available is a semi-pistol grip, Printer Wales. This has got a proper sporting grip, feels really nice. No palm swell, but having said that, if you look at the Browning range today, the only gun you will get a palm swell will be the 725 Pro Sport or the 725. Everything else, like the XS Pro, they've kind of done away with it. Not sure why that is, but of course that's Browning's decision ultimately. Turn the stock over, just as nicely figured. Well, you could argue that it's actually better on the right-hand side. I've talked about this before. A lot of manufacturers don't quite get it right. You have a left-handed gun with the best side on the right and a right-handed gun with the best side on the left. This one, they've got it absolutely right. Incidentally, stock dimensions we have got, and again, it's been the same as this for a number of years now, 36mm drop at comb, 56mm drop at heel, 14 7/8 lengths of pull with an adjustable trigger. Yes, you could argue it's a little bit low in the comb, but what I would say, it's a big improvement on the old 425 Privilege, or again, from the Miracle stable, Browning stable, if you like, the MK60s, which the earlier ones have got so much drop on. If you've got a neck, you can't possibly shoot one. So in terms of stock dimensions, okay, but for someone like me, obviously they would have to be a little bit higher. Schnabel forem, which they continued throughout the kind of 525 sporting range. Yes, there is an option for a beaver tail on a couple of the models, but with the game guns and the sporters, it's always been a Schnabel forend. Nicely figured wood again. The lines are nice. They're going through nicely. We've got an engraved forend iron. Again, double point checker, and for me, it just looks the best. It looks the most traditional. It looks the most elegant. Yes, there's a lot of funky styles on some of the modern clay guns like Bretta DT11s, etc., which, yes, they do work, but for me, as a traditionalist person that likes to see nice wood on a shotgun, I think this is just the best option time and time again. So there you go, a real champagne supernova of a heritage there. Moving on to the box, you will have seen this before. This is Browning's Opaline Deluxe ABS case by Negrini. We've got this kind of go faster stripe with a Browning bookmark there. We've got Browning in gold on the top. Obviously it's completely lockable, you can set the combination. Inside we've got more brown, like an Austin Allegro from the 1970s. Browning has been stuck on or painted on or something like that. You've got the standard bits of foam pieces and all the goodies you would expect. So with this being a sporter, Invector Plus chokes, it comes with 5 chokes, so we get 5 choke tubes. We got the proper T-bar key. Again, if you go back to the Miracle video, talk about politics, but MK11, you get that crappy piece of flat metal. With a Browning, you get a proper T-bar key. Allen key to adjust the trigger. And interestingly enough, which is you won't get with all heritages, there are actually the spare triggers as well. So we've got the checkered one on the gun, we've got the slightly skinnier one, and we've got the one that's got a slight twist to it, a bit like you get with an Ultra XS Pro. So standard Browning trigger lock, everybody gets, very people, in my opinion, tend to use. Obviously with the Browning, oh look, we've got the original barrel sticker that someone's taken off the barrel and cleverly retained on this carrier bag, never to be used again, but you know, each to their own. Inside we've got the standard book of words, we've got the warranty book, and of course we've got the standard proof certificate, which I always like because it tells you kind of things that like the barrel weight. So this gun has got 1484 gram barrels, which obviously comes under the kind of 1500 I would normally like on a 30-inch sporter, which makes overall weight £7.15, which is a, like I said, nicely balanced gun, much better than the original Heritage one. And then maybe if you really want to know how your combinations go, then the booklet's just in here. So that in a nutshell is pretty much everything. We've done the gun, we've done the box. If you've got any questions about this particular gun, please do get in touch. Details are on the screen. Don't forget to check out the website. Don't forget to like the videos. And obviously, if you've not already done that, subscribe to the channel. So a final word from me. If you look inside the eye of your mind, you know you might find a gem like this here on the Eastfield Gunroom. I'll see you next time.